Hey, what's up? This is Chosen. Happy middle of the week to you. This is going to be a Raid Shadow Legends video about what is happening in the game and in the Raid community. We've got Plarium doing an extremely rare type of summoning weekend coming up. We've got the Supreme Lane Fusion. We've got the community reacting to all of the Supreme Legendaries from rare champions. And we have got hard mode dungeons coming soon with a test server going on behind the scenes. So I will let you know about everything happening so that you can prepare as we head in to the middle of the week. Let's get into it. Alrighty, now first of all, in terms of shard events coming up this weekend, we are going to be getting 3 different 2Xs. Now, we already knew that we were going to be getting 2X sacred shards. That was going to be the typical standard rotation, but now things are going to be thrown for a loop because Plarium is going to be doing a 2X event for sacreds, voids, and ancients, and they're actually going to work backwards. So it's going to be Friday sacred shards, and then Saturday void shards, and then Sunday ancient shards. So each 2X for each respective shard is going to be live for 1 day starting this Friday. And we kind of knew that was coming, at least for sacred shards, which is why all of us have been warning you to be careful about pulling for the extra legendary event, because we will probably get some sort of champion chase or summon rush type of event going on in relation to the Supreme Lane Fusion, Fragment event, whatever you want to call it, that is going to be starting here in just a couple days heading into this weekend. And speaking of the Supreme starting champions, thank you to the over 5,000 of you that voted over on the community tab. I absolutely love it. I really enjoy being able to gather your feedback in the Raid community and then talk about it in videos to keep people in the loop how things are shaping up in the Raid community. And this is really no surprise to me. When I did my video, kind of first reacting to the kits that we saw of the Supreme Legendary Champions, I personally rated them in my video as Kale 1, Galek 2, and then I believe I put Aethel 3. This is my only difference from the viewers, but these are pretty interchangeable. I mean, 2 and 3%. Pretty unanimous opinion here in the Raid community, but I rated them like that, 1, 2, 3, 4. I actually did put Supreme Lane as the worst, but you know what? The more I think about it, I maybe would put Supreme Lane number 3 and kind of agree with the audience, but it is pretty unanimous that Supreme Kale and Supreme Galek are going to be the two reigning Supreme starting champions for sure. So hopefully Plarium sees this, maybe does a little bit of an adjustment, but we are going to be learning a lot more about Supreme Lane in the next 24 hours because we've got tons of content creators testing these different champions behind the scenes on the test server. So here in about 16 to 24 hours, you're going to get tons and tons of videos from your favorite content creators diving into all of these starting champions. We'll start to learn the multipliers. We'll start to be able to place them on tier lists, and we'll start to have a way better understanding of how they are going to be grading in terms of the whole scope of Raid. And then a couple of the other polls that might interest you. I asked how many of you were going to be pulling sacred shards during the bonus legendary event that's happening right now. By the way, you've got to decide if you want to do that soon. But it looks like a pretty perfect ratio of 80-20 in terms of no versus yes. So the majority of players wanting to kind of hold off until they can either double dip with the fragment events or something else happening in game, with 20% of you wanting to chase the bonus legendary on sacreds. And then down below, we had asking the first impressions of Supreme Lane's kit, and that has stabilized with the majority of people, almost 90% of people, in like the decent or meh, wait and see, you know, not super excited, but I don't think she's the worst champion in the game or anything, with only 12% of people being on the polar edges of either really good or really bad. But speaking of the Supreme Champions, we are 2 days out from the fragment events for Supreme Lane starting. I will obviously get an infographic done showing her as a champion, her multipliers and suggested masteries and everything. I will have one of those fancy infographics here on the channel by the time her event starts, and I'm going to be diving in a little bit more on the test server hopefully today and do a bunch of testing for her, and then we'll be able to assess here on like Thursday and Friday a little bit more of have a nuanced opinion on which people that it makes sense to either go for or skip her as a champion. But also a big determining factor in that is going to be what the events look like. Is this going to be an event as difficult as like Brogni, or is it going to be one of the more average or easier fragment events? We don't know the answer to these questions. We'll have to get a little bit more context from testing her and then also seeing the events and tournaments calendar in game for her fragments. For the tournaments and events happening in game, you want to take it easy a little bit, obviously, because we've got the events for Supreme Elaine starting in just a couple days. You've got some pretty normal stuff, Tag Team Arena Tournament that I know all of you are excited to take part in, and then the Fire Night Tournament right here. I would maybe get to 1525 for the coins. And then under the events, the most important thing is you want to make sure and pull 20 mystery shards for your daily fusion warm-up obligation. You just pop in and do 2 10 pops of mystery shards and you're good to go. And then if you're getting after the champion training tournament, today is your last day to chase the book for 12,000 points over there for those of you that are interested in that. Then let's pull up the shop and see if there's anything worth going over. Looks like we're paying about $25 per sacred. That's not going to cut it. And then the offers here. For high spenders, maybe, but for the low to medium spenders, no, not going to cut it. And then we've got the string pack here with some energy, a sacred, 2 books. Not the worst in terms of string packs that have a sacred in them, but usually these string packs aren't like a 1.5 or a 2.0. So gonna depend again. For like the higher spending tier, maybe makes sense. But for the lower tiers, maybe be a little bit more diligent. We know the drill on these 2 and then the cruel set. So yeah, I'm not seeing anything super noteworthy or exciting in the shop. Hopefully that changes as we head into the fragments starting this weekend for Supreme Elaine. Also want to give a quick shout out to my friend Holy Wizard HWZ, who's going to be repping the team and joining the squad with the new fancy banner and everything going on. Does really good content, and I'll link to his channel down below. Really good at thinking of interesting champions to use and plays up in like Platinum Arena. Really good player, knows a lot about the game. Does some really fun stuff like Jeopardy that he did here with Hell Hades, and he's going to be bringing me on for a Jeopardy type raid episode. So definitely, if you have not seen HWZ's channel, I'll link it down below, and it's definitely worth checking out. Boom, there it is. Remember to subscribe on your way out if you enjoy daily Raid Shadow Legends content. I have got to get to work, head on over to the test server and test some of this stuff and chat with some people. Unfortunately, I can't stream it or do anything video related today. It's going to be, like I said, about 16, 18 hours from now, like super early in the morning for Americans is typically when the test server embargo will lift, and then we are able to finally crank out videos. So you'll probably see like 200 videos coming in the next day about all of these different Supreme champions and the hard dungeons and all of that. And we'll have guides up on the website and here on the channel, and a bunch of collaborations trying to take down these new dungeons, figure out what the drop rates are they worth it energy-wise to try and get that mythical gear. There's going to be a lot of stuff that we need to dive into in the next week or so because Raid is going to be changing a lot. And then also, that doesn't even include the live arena, which is going to be coming here probably in the next 2 or 3 months. So things are going to be crazy, but we're going to do our best to stay on top of everything. And that'll do it for me on this one. I appreciate all of you. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I will see you soon in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.